Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here. I'm just looking after my flatmate Shaw. He's kind of gotten a virus, so he's a bit ill. Bless him. In this episode, I'm going to review the anime horror King of Thorn.
King of Thorn is a Japanese animated sci-fi horror set in a world where Earth is under the pandemic of a virus named Medusa. Because of the dangers of this virus, a load of people take on an opportunity to be cryogenically frozen for 100 years, in hopes that there will be a cure available when they're unfrozen. Unfortunately, everyone is thawed out 48 hours later, and the laboratory has been taken over by monsters. So, why did the cryogenic pods open up so early? Where did these monsters come from? And what's really going on in this laboratory located inside a huge castle?
So, this film is kind of like a...
Why are you doing this in my room? Do it in your own room.
You're ill. Shh, don't say anything. Just drink. Okay?
This movie may have dazzling animation, pretty artwork, good action, and effective gore, but it's just too damn confusing. Maybe I read the movie wrong, but I had a really hard time understanding this film's complicated story and its many convoluted plots. I got a headache from trying to follow what was going on, and I couldn't get invested in it. Perhaps this film has a deep intention, and you have to look between the lines to understand it, but I really struggled with its complexity. Of course I understood some things, but most of the time I got really bored, so twists, turns and big reveals barely meant a thing to me, because I either didn't know what was going on or I just didn't care. To top things off, the film is incredibly chatty. Exposition is constantly being thrown at us, and we don't get time to take it all in. Animated film is a visual medium. You can show your story. You don't have to explain it all through spoken word. In addition, characters try to drill in the relevance of Sleeping Beauty throughout the whole film. It feels like the movie is trying too hard to use the classic fairy tale as a metaphorical analogy. If you want to create an association between your film and a fairy tale, then at least be subtle or ambiguous about it. Respect your audience's intelligence and let them work out the connection. The main characters of this film are either unlikable, underdeveloped, or annoying. There's a teenage girl called Kasumi, a special forces guy called Marco, a British woman who lost her son called Catherine, a little boy called Tim, and a cop called Ron. Kasumi is a whiny goody two-shoes who spends the whole movie whimpering and crying. She's got no edge to her personality and no flaws to make her interesting. She's just a blubbering moral compass. Sure, she has a moment of bravery, but it seems out of character because it comes out of nowhere. Marco is a cool badass, but he lacks the charm and personality of a memorable anti-hero. Catherine spends most of the movie quoting Sleeping Beauty in her bad British accent. The loss of her son has twisted her mind, so she's often a bit creepy or crazy. A psychotic woman who lost her child sounds like an interesting character, but she's written so over the top and so manic that she's hard to sympathize with, like, or even take seriously. It's like she's a diva from a television soap. Tim is a painfully irritating brat who only talks about his bloody video game. Yes, the video game has some kind of relevance to what's going on, but it's all Tim ever talks about. He never shuts up about that bloody game. And Ron is just a generic tough guy with the least development out of all the characters. The film is so busy spouting out exposition that we don't get a chance to develop any kind of emotional connection with most of these characters. How can I care about these characters' survival if I hardly know them, or don't even like them? The characters' relationships aren't very touching either, because most of the time they moan at each other and relentlessly argue. That's all they do. There's no bonding, there's no relationship building. It's all just mean-spirited, childish arguing. The animation for this movie is very refined and fluid. It's definitely a visual splendor for the eye. Everything moves convincingly and emotions are easy to read. However, pretty animation doesn't substitute the fact that I could hardly understand this film. It's still confusing, no matter how snazzy everything looks. In addition, the monsters move very awkwardly and appear more like mechanical robots than living, breathing organic life. It's very distracting and makes it hard to believe that they're alive. Now, I saw this movie in its English dub format. The voice acting from the US dub actors is passable and decent. Each actor puts a lot of energy and expression into their deliveries. They all sound emotive and clear.
No surprise. Stains are all that's left of the rest.
Hey, others could be around.
Yeah, dripping down the walls.
Give it a rest.
Oh, I'm sorry. I put Mr. Boy Scout off his feet.
I'm a cop, you idiot.
Were, before the world went tits up. Take a look around, people. What, you think this shit popped up overnight or something? We've been on ice for a good long time.
Yeah, he's right. Those bird things that attacked us.
Oh, mister, I know what they're called. They're death bats from level 1.
Huh?
From his video game.
The only problem I have lies in Stephanie Young's poor British accent for Catherine. At least, I think it's supposed to be British, I'm not sure. Stephanie is a good actress, but her apparent attempt at a British accent is questionable. It clearly sounds like an American trying too hard to sound British. Whatever she has gone with, it doesn't sound right.
Once upon a time, there lived a king and queen. They loved each other deeply, as though a single heart thrummed in both their breasts. But they were unhappy. For all their love, the gods never blessed them with a child. Apothecaries and magicians tried to help, but to no avail. Nobles and peasants alike dropped to their knees and petitioned the heavens on their behalf. One day, as the queen bathed in a secluded pond, a frog hopped right up to her and spoke.
Sometimes her accent is inconsistent too. Like, she'll deliver one line in Queen's English, then in the next line, she sounds Liverpudlian, Cockney, or Australian. It's bizarre. Despite this problem, the US dub is an okay effort. Nothing fancy, but it's listenable. I did have a wee peek at the original Japanese voices, and to be honest, they're a lot better. They sound more natural and restrained. The music score for this film didn't really grab my attention. Sure, it sometimes sounds effectively creepy now and again, plus there's some okay horror stings in moments of shock or terror, but the score doesn't offer anything spectacular or memorable. I can't pick out any noteworthy pieces because it's missing a standout composition or two.
To conclude, King of Thorn is an overambitious movie with unlikable or underdeveloped characters. Sure, it has cool fight scenes and pretty eye candy to look at, but it's a very confusing experience. Well, for me it was. Maybe other viewers can interpret the movie better. I get the feeling that the producers took the original manga, turned it into a script, took out its important details that were left in the manga, and then made it into a movie. That's how confusing it is, but that's not right. A movie should work on its own. I'm going to give this film 2 Thorn stars out of 5. Now, if some of you are still wondering if this movie is your cup of tea, then consider this. If you enjoyed such titles as Night of the Living Dead, or James Cameron's Aliens, then I think there's something you might get out of King of Thorn. I've been Jambareeqi, and I hope you've enjoyed my review. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I encourage you to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. In the next episode, I'll be checking out the animated family horror Igor. Ooh. What do you think of Igor, Shaw? Shaw? Igor? Shaw? Shaw? He's dead! I just did a review next to a dead guy!